Welcome to Lucia Gabriela TV here on Facebook, and thank you again for joining us to another amazing day and amazing conversation that we are really so excited about sexual healing. So today we have an incredible and amazing woman. Her name is Cheryl Good, and she's the co-founder of Women Healing Women. And we're going to be learning a little bit more about what are her thoughts and perspective about what sexual healing is and what is not, and help us to clarify and understand more about what is this, right? What this conversation about. Really excited. If you have any questions, please feel free to type, and I will be so honored to answer those, or Cheryl will be answering those too. So yeah, share this with your friends right now, because the conversation about sexual healing is getting hot today. So let's just bring in Cheryl with us today, and here we go. Right here. Alright, I'm playing with my phone today. Here you go. Here you go. Here you are. Here. Great day, Cheryl. How are you doing today?
Excellent. It's a beautiful day in sunny, hot. It's getting hot in Sedona, Arizona.
Awesome. So, can you just share a little bit about who you are and what actually you do with the Women Healing Women weekend that you were talking about before?
Mm-hmm. Well, I started this, like many people who become sexual healers, from wanting to heal my own lack of feeling connected to my sexuality. So when that happened, and that was many years ago, yet it was so distressing to really feel shut down as a female. Our female energy is an energy of creativity and connection to life and connection to love and children and artistic endeavors, and I felt my world was shrinking because I didn't have that available to me. So that launched me into quite a journey of healing, beginning first with, I graduated from a 4-year program in energy healing, which was so helpful because it did give me the attunement to the subtle energy world. What it didn't directly address, though, was how does sexual energy fit into all of this? Mm-hmm. So, I mean, I can talk chakras and colors and spirit guides, and yet the very essence of being alive, like the life force that was talked about in a way of like, oh, just kind of transcend it. So, yes, there was a concept of grounding. It didn't really integrate, like, how is this going to help me feel like I'm fully online again as a fully sexual, radiant female? So that moved me into discovering by complete chance that there even was something called sexual healing. I mean, to me, that just seemed like how could you have the word sexual and how could you have the word healing, and how could those two words ever be spoken about in the same sentence? It seemed bizarre. So in the great amusement of I'm guessing, of the universe, I met a man whose specialty was sexual healing, yet didn't really know what it was. I thought it was about like singing bowls and essential oils and tuning forks. And then I quickly discovered that indeed it could be those things, and it still is in my practice. Yet it was a direct somatic approach. It was really coming into the body and in a very safe container. Even though I thought it was extremely strange, because my life in one sentence could be suburban Chicago housewife to Sedona sexual healer. So I felt myself come back online. I mean, I felt like I'm feeling things again. And I had recognized that there had been sexual trauma in my past. Mm. So I did go through talk therapy, group therapy, art therapy, which is helpful. And I would say to anybody who is seeking out a way to reconnect to their sexual energy, those are all important modalities. And I think we'll talk more about that as we get to the final question. So I did all those things, and yet I was like, where is the sensual? Like, where is the aliveness? So I started belly dancing, and all of this experience led me to combine my subtle energy skills. I apprenticed to this sexual healer for a year and a half. I belly danced, and all of this came together as in, I can be with women. I can be a guide for women to begin to feel that vital, absolutely necessary part of life, which is each woman is so unique and so beautiful. Yet how do we get a container that we can feel that, and more than feel it, like bring it out into the world?
Yes, indeed. Thank you for sharing all that. So I'm so excited about learning more from you, like your perspective. To all of viewers, we appreciate you so much. And remember, we want to remember, we would love for you to remember that everyone who is here sharing the insight and perspective that coming from their own personal experience and their studies and their awareness and all that. So we offering here amazing, great perspective, but always you are going to be the one that is going to be in your power to actually filter what resonates with you, what doesn't resonate with you. And also, we coming from a place of honoring and respecting all levels of, of practices that are utilized in sexual healing itself, because they are practices that are really powerful and transformational, and we just not just gonna judge them or anything like that. But there are different keys and ingredients that might be taken consideration. So we're gonna dive deeper into the questions, and today we're gonna go a little more deeper into the conversation, because a lot of our viewers are also interested in the realm of becoming sexual healing, or they are in the training process of it. So that will be mostly at the end of it. So, what is sexual healing for you?
So, my perspective is very broad. Sexual energy is life energy. It's the energy of life that creates other life. So, as a practitioner, when I'm with a client or group, I help them look at what's between me and living my fullest life. So I have I start with a very broad way of looking at sexual healing, which is life healing. Because we come into the world connected to our sexual energy. We came from sexual energy. Fetuses are touching their genitals in the womb, so we're a highly sexual species. And I think just having some appreciation and understanding that being in a human body is being engaged in life, and sexual energy is the energy that creates life. So I look at, what is sexual healing? It's healing anything in your life that's stopping you, blocking you, diminishing you in any way.
Yes. Yes, like anything that is holding you back from being your creative power, which sexual energy is about. So it definitely, it's not just too broad, but it actually is, in some levels, it's the truth. So what is not sexual healing?
Oh, so sexual healing, what's not sexual healing is anything that would start to diminish that. Anything that it could be a belief, and I hear a lot of beliefs, especially around sexual energy. So what's not sexual healing is some sort of misinformation, because there's a lot of misinformation around sexual energy. Mm-hmm. And it would be any sort of beliefs around that you're not already whole. You may not feel whole, but intrinsically as a human being, if you came into this world, you came from a state of wholeness. So what's not sexual healing is a belief, misinformation, and at the very worst, something that's called sexual healing, and in essence is limiting or re-traumatizing the person who is seeking sexual healing.
Yes. Yeah, we're going to be talking a little bit more about traumatizing at the end of the questions when we go deeper into the aspect of inviting the schools and practitioners and teachers of these realms to be more conscious about the way that they create in the curriculum, the way they create in the teachings, the way they create in the workshops, the event, and giving certification just to give. So stay tuned until the end. So how do you know sexual healing is for you?
I would say if it comes into your field of awareness, if something, well, it could be anything. You could be repelled and shocked. Anything that creates an energy around it, I would say, is an invitation to find out more.
Yeah.
And it could be what I find, and especially because I work with so many women, is by simply being myself, at this point in my life, all the things I've been, a teacher and a mother and a performer and a workshop leader, all those things, my comfort level with myself, with my body, with my spirit, I find that women, they want to know, like, how can you be who you are? And with all the things that they project, like you feel, you're so comfortable with your body. I modeled having normalized conversations around sexuality. So it could either be like that, sexual healing, what is it? It sounds shocking. What could it be? To being around somebody or reading something that piques your interest about, well, what exactly is sexual healing? And is it something that I want to find out more about?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's just like what I think I'm hearing from you is that embodiment in feeling so good in your own body will invite people to be curious about what else is happening, what else is going on here, what else is expanding, how this person actually is so free and so open and so connected with her sexuality. I want to learn more about that. So definitely, if those questions come and arise within you, it will be a good, like you mentioned, maybe something that is coming to you that you desire more to know more about sexual healing is for you or not. So how do you know it is not for you?
Well, I would say that if you do some sort of questioning, exploration, do some research, and you realize, you know what, that doesn't feel like that's the way for me to approach my healing. So sometimes knowing what this is not can lead to something that is. Like, oh, you know what, I don't think I'm ready for that. That seems like a deep, deep level of vulnerability. It could be something like, I'm going to go to a group, an art therapy group. It could be, maybe that's the way to start, and it may never end up in a sexual healing situation. Yet there's so many other ways to feel connected, to feel completely connected through all the energy centers of the body.
Yeah. So are there any levels, stages of sexual healing?
Well, this, of course, is what is the hot topic, at least in our world right now, is, first of all, are there levels to begin with? And I would say that this has been an evolving inquiry for me, because I've been riveted to all these discussions. And thank you for being part of the discussion. I'm really thinking through my own practice, like, well, what do I believe? What really is in the highest and best interest of my client? And I would say that I'm really moving to the side of there are levels. Mm-hmm. I have developed discernment over the years of when I do meet someone, and then and then having a sense of, here's all your possibilities, and yet the very basics of how can you calm your nervous system? How can you? How is it going to be when you leave our co-created safe and sacred space? So I'm going to say what I'm moving towards is, yes, there are levels, because everyone comes in with a unique background. And so many people who are seeking sexual healing have been through some sort of trauma. And if you've just grown up female in our culture, and maybe you grew up in another culture, and you're living in this one, I would just say growing up female has its own particular stresses. And let me, of course, say I love men. I'm in a deep, loving sexual partnership. Yet it's mostly women that I work with because that's my experience. I can come and say, here's what I've experienced as a female. And because I had to come from a place of being traumatized, I had to develop those skills. And it takes time. It just takes time. Nervous systems are like any other part of the body. If you had some serious leg injury, you would know that it's going to take you time. You'd get the right type of physical therapy and nutrition and exercise. Well, what I have found out over the years is that my nervous system had to be nurtured. Mm-hmm. So to jump ahead and, have some, and I did have these ecstatic, expanded, like, oh, I am a goddess. Yes, I am a goddess. But what was happening is I was taking on someone else's version.
Yes.
Which is...
Bravo. Yeah, you just said it.
I don't need anyone else to tell me how to heal my divine feminine because, in essence, they're imposing their version of the divine feminine.
Yes. Which
is kind of a limited in some ways, and which is why, and I have friends who are escorts and sexual healers and dakinis. I never fit. I was like, but I'm not that. And I think part of it was, and Tantra is giving me many gifts, but there was this version of femininity, and it seemed to involve some gauzy clothes and a bindi on my forehead, and I love that, but it wasn't me. It wasn't the healer me. Mm-hmm. It was like somebody else's version of how the divine, yes, I felt the divine feminine energy moving through me, and I felt ecstatic, and I felt expanded, and I felt my heart, and I felt my yoni. Yet, I couldn't find a model, and that's why I didn't go into any of the schools, because even years ago, I was like, this doesn't feel right to me. It doesn't fit my model. Mm-hmm. I went through a 4-year program to come out as a certified advanced energy healer. So in a weekend or in a week, I could feel all those things, and I want to share it because that's what we do. We light up as women, and we love and we nurture and we want to share. Yet now, how can I be this, but in a context where I feel like I know who I am, mm-hmm. and not somebody else's version. I know who I am, and I had to find that, and that's been my quest, and it continues to be my quest, and that's why this conversation is so, so, so important.
I love it. It just gave me chills because I also was part of this whole, like, in this exploration of, like, learning, because when you get into this realm, it's so cloudy, it's like so foggy, like you literally can get lost, and if you don't have the right mentors or the right teachers, or you don't have that discernment within yourself on some kind of level of education or that eagerness, and it had been a journey of just exploring and also being clear with what it is that I do, what I don't do, who I am, who I am not, and also remember, memories that I had from energetic memories from ancient Egypt that I have and I carry, and it's like these memories that always talk to me about levels, and a lot of people get triggered when we say like levels of healing. There's levels of work. There's levels of, it's like this cooling of it. You don't go from first grade to 10th grade in a weekend, right? It could be a lot traumatizing, and especially when it comes to this realm of healing emotions and your psychology and your mindset, it could be so traumatic to be go from a cocoon to a butterfly in less than a few minutes. It will be traumatizing experience. So I really love that you're pointing out that It is so important in this journey to really come from a place of like, who am I? Who am I? Who is this individual? And indeed, it's like, I have also seen it and I've been part of it, like putting the binge in there, and I'm like, that shit doesn't work for me anymore. And I'm like, wait a minute, I'm a fucking Latina here. Excuse my language, but I am a Latina. I am not I don't come from India. I don't come from this. And you know, when you fall into these fitting rooms where like these boxes of that, because you're tantrika or you're daikini, you have to do this, you have to act this way, you have to dress this way. And I'm a Latina. I have like Spaniard, I have Incas, I have like Amazonians in me, and it's like, it was such an interesting journey. So I really love and appreciate that you're bringing that into the conversation, because for all of you who are watching, we're going to go dive deeper into the end of this conversation with an aspect of like inviting the schools and the teachers and practitioners who are certifying people in this field. So this is a conversation that at the end we're going to go deeper, and we're going to actually invite how the programs, like the curriculum, the process, the screening process, because a lot of people are getting hurt, a lot of people are getting re-traumatized with this work, a lot of people are getting, raped and violated, and a lot of people, because there's no system, this is not a regulated practice in sexual healing, which we already have been sharing, that there's a big spectrum of it, and we honor all the work, but do we need to be accountable, and we need to create an accountability system in this community for no more people getting hurt with it, because it's a beautiful, powerful healing practice. We just need to be more conscious about it. So now let's go deep in this one. So, is genital work a part of sexual healing? If yes, at what stage of the process it should be, at the beginning or the end?
So I would like to say that genital work can be part of the process, and it can never be part of the process. And if it's so, then build a foundation for the client, so that they understand how that integrates into their particular nervous system, their particular spirit. So if it's going to be part of the process, first of all, the healer, the practitioner, I actually prefer that word, the practitioner has to be so impeccable.
Yeah.
And impeccable is just not like, oh, here's my ethics. No. Impeccability is a daily, absolutely being impeccable with yourself, understanding your motives, spending time in your own thoughts, completely getting any sexual, emotional, spiritual needs met outside of your healing room. That is just, it's primary for any practitioner. Yet when it comes to sexual healing, because it is so powerful, like we're literally dealing with the stuff of life, if genital work is going to be part of the healing session, build a foundation for and with the client.
Yeah.
So they understand what this is. So they're just not coming out of a person with like their hair blown back and, like, oh yes, I'm feeling so many things. And I will say I always, the follow up. I mean, it's not just the session. Mm-hmm. I always follow up with an email. Here's books. Here's other resources.
Yes.
Yes. So for the practitioner to first of all come in with, I am full. I have come to this room. I have come to this session. I have taken care of all my needs, starting with nutrition. I got enough sleep. I got enough hugs outside. I'm in a deep partnership with myself. If genital work is, then that is the absolute baseline requirement, is that you come in such a space of, I know my boundaries, I've helped my client articulate their own boundaries, and that in every session is right at the front. What do I want? What do I need? What do I don't want? What is not a need for me? That's for the client. I have to have that all worked out.
Yeah.
Before I step into the room.
having that clear channel, being that clear, is like one of the things I do in my work, which I don't do any genital work, and I offer the 90% preparation of it. So if anybody always wonder what I do, I don't do that. But I send to professionals, but my clients have to come through me first to purge whatever the heck they need to purge first, and get some kind of like mental, great mindset, and honor themselves and love themselves and learn to really love themselves so much before they even go to somebody that I refer. And I'm very, very picky. That's why I literally I'm doing this and I'm loving this, because I'm really picky who I refer my clients. To me, my clients are like my most important priority the moment of my work. They like, nothing is more important outside of that sessions. Like, they are right there. Gosh, like they're goddess to me, like. So this is how I usually do my practice. So I'm so right with you in there. So is having sex with a client considered sexual healing? You know, we're talking about the sacred prostitute. A lot of people talk about this, and if yes, should be offered at the beginning of the journey or advanced levels.
So the first word is a big no. Like, first of all, it's not even necessary. Now, I will get to the sacred prostitute archetype, which to me, in modern day, I would say would be a sexual surrogate.
Yes. Good point.
And I revere those people. Like if I was going to bow to somebody, I revere to somebody who's gone through a sexual surrogacy certification program and then is working with other qualified, trained professionals. I mean, to me, that is, I have reverence for people who do choose that. And I understand the appeal of the sacred prostitute archetype, because I too have felt that way. Like, I am so full and overflowing, and I could take someone into my body, and I'm speaking this because it's real for women, and I'm sure it has its version for men. I can only speak from a woman's standpoint. I can understand there is an appeal to that, because there is a moment where I'm the universal. I'm not the personal anymore. So I have that feeling that I am the universe. The rivers are flowing through me. The forests are sprouting out of me. The fish are jumping. Flowers are blooming. And would it somehow, if I could share this with another human and that would change their life, there is an appeal to that. Yet, what I know is I can still have that great fantasy, play with my partner. It doesn't have a place for me in a sexual healing situation, because the transference of that, I mean, the energetic transference, and so some of them may not be at the place where they understand that I am universal feminine, and now it's too messy, it's too muddy, and the potential for disaster, it's rampant.
It is.
We're meant to be bonding people. So for someone to think that they can have sexual intercourse in a session, and then that's kind of like a casual, well, yeah, have a good day, that's not my experience of sexual energy.
Yeah.
My experience of sexual energy is me opening to the depths of me. So you got it.
That.
Hey.
Me opening to the depth of me. I love that. Like, I'm up. I'm opening up.
And that's what I choose for me. And that's the transmission. But it doesn't have to include my yoni and my it's just that transmit. You felt it. That's words. You're in Florida. I'm in Arizona. So it's a non-local phenomena.
Yeah. It's like, I love it because it's like I can feel the heat, and it's like I'm a very myself. I can turn it on and turn it off, and like just turn it on, and I can feel, it's like the beauty of it. And that's what sometimes people don't understand, that also you can do sexual healing sessions on Skype where you close on.
Which I do because energy is non-local.
Yeah.
And so to think that it has to be like, tab A and slot B for something to happen it's a tiny slice. It really is. But to think that's what it has to come to ultimately, like, oh, this is building up to that, it limits. And I'm not interested in anything that limits. Like you, I want to empower people. I don't want to hook them.
Yeah.
And thinking that somehow I have some magical powers. Well, we all have magical powers.
Mm-hmm.
But their healing is for them. No one else could have done my healing for me.
Yeah. It's like we help them. We facilitate their space for them to be with themselves. It's for themselves. So I love that. And I really appreciate that you mentioned it. It's like, indeed, like, I do, we recognize there are some, some women, some practitioners that do have sex with the clients. And I do understand some of them have a very, very, to even get to that level, you have to be like, you have to work with them for years. Before, by that point, it's not even necessary, that from what I hear. But what I love is that you honor the aspect of the training that surrogates have to go through. The process that these women have to go through is like all of us. Like, I do believe, that it is something that, especially to keep it legal in an aspect, why even try to get with the law and I don't know, like, it's something that I could not live like worrying about things and like, oh my gosh, like, and I believe that sexual surrogates are like very powerful because they're doing amazing work and they prepare themselves. They pay a lot of money to prepare themselves, and they have to get verified. They have to be accountable. They have to go through the process. So I definitely think that it's really, really important to honor that. Yeah, so let's go to the next one. That's what we're leading to the next question is, what are the code of ethic sexual healers should have with clients, even for those who offer sexual work as part of it?
Well, this is the blazing topic right now, is a code of ethics, because there is not a code of ethics. Such sexological body workers in California, there is a code of ethics. Can we just lift that code and put it on our work? I'm not sure about that. There's definitely elements. I've read through it again. I thought there are elements, and it's important. I think it's a good start. The ultimate ethic is the relationship of the practitioner to themselves. Mm-hmm. Now, saying that, always starting a session with boundaries. Like, verbal boundaries, if need so, written boundaries. I need to always be modeling. So I would say that's one of the ethics, is modeling effective communication around boundaries. And then, the other ethic would be, what is your training? And we don't have a standard. And that will be, the future of our work, our industry, our passion. It's hard to call it an industry and work. When it feels like it's the stuff of life for me, because it is the stuff of life. So a code of ethics, I think it's an evolving code, and there'll be a lot of discussion, and it still will come down to consciousness, raising consciousness now, because that's what all of this is doing, is raising consciousness and awareness about what is sexual healing and what are the levels. And we're coming back to levels. It's inevitable. Some people don't like levels, and that's okay. But they don't have to be. they don't have to be sexual healers.
Yeah, even for coaching, you have different levels of work that that you have and that you offer to your clients. You cannot offer someone who is really advanced at some specific area or topic, something that you offer to somebody who is very new, especially, if you work with relationship or life or even health, even nutrition. You're not gonna, try to tell somebody who's just starting to eat, organic, just coming out of the STAT diet, and ask them and literally give them like a whole 30-day liquid fast. You're gonna kill the guy or the girl, right? Like you're gonna shock them. It's like something that you prepare them. It's like having these at school, these integrative nutrition training with me. It's like this. Little by little, you feed them one spoon at a time. Like you cannot feed everyone the same way. You cannot prepare a program or even a nutritional program, the same program to everybody else because everybody is so unique. So,
right.
So really
for some person, they may never get to a liquid fast, and that might not be the right thing for them anyway.
Yep.
So it's the individualized approach to any session, which really does a credit to the practitioner, and it does a credit to the client. And as some code of ethics evolves, and there's trainings which really address the depth and the breadth of this topic, I think there'll be more good and a lot less harm.
Yeah. And I really love that you also point out the aspect of education. We also come from a world of the spiritual community that everybody is being intuitive, with channeling, with remembering our stuff. I can tell you guys, I was channeling my Egyptian energy like 4 or 5 years ago, and I was testing, but I have a lot of training on coaching and all the different parts. But actually, it was interesting to me because as soon as I said, like, okay, let's explore a little bit about working with the energy, all of a sudden the universe literally put me to massage school. And I had to go to massage school training, right? And it's like, I'm always educating myself and just having some kind of license and certification or whatever. But finally, the reason why I am back to school is because I went to a deep training with one of my mentors about therapeutic kink. And in the upline, I realized that, man, I had to get my psychology knowledge to, I had to polish that thing. I cannot just talk about from my heart and my intuition, which is great. But it's so important for me to get that level of education of the basics. So in the upline, I made a decision coming back from California, I'm going back to school, and I signed up. It had been a very intense year, but but it's really, really important for us who are facilitating this to really keep up learning and mastering something for our clients. We're creating safe space for them.
And I do want to follow up because I live in Sedona, Arizona. It's like every other person on the block channels or does Reiki or uses crystals. I mean, I am in like the epicenter of a lot of people believing a lot of things. What I would say is if you spend some quiet time and you have some sort of meditation practice or nature practice, you are going to be more intuitive. You've already cut out some of the distractions because we're continually distracted. If you have some time with yourself, you're going to be more intuitive. And it's not like someone has a special gift and you didn't get it. Mm-hmm. I would say, like, if you move your attention towards that aspect of our life, you are going to be more intuitive. And it's one source of information.
Yes.
It's the only source of information. And I love learning. I go back, I read my books, just understanding anatomy, like understanding the anatomy of arousal. One of my favorite books by Cheryl Winston, The Woman's Anatomy of Arousal. There are women who just don't even have basic information about how the capacity of their bodies. And then there's a lot of things to move. There's misinformation, then there's overlays of cultural beliefs and religious beliefs. I mean, that in itself can be tremendously expanding and healing and empowering. And it could never involve genitals.
Yeah, and that leads into the next question. Can sexual healing not involve genital work, sexual erotic massage, or copulation? Copulation is when you have sex with somebody.
Right. It's a great word.
Well, the first time I learned about copulation, I was like, why you cope? How you cope? I was like, I was not aware that it was a sexual word. And I was like, ah, copulation. That's interesting.
So I guess I preceded your question about that. It never has to involve genital work. For the very aspect that sexuality is so broad, it's life healing. So, and it's ultimately your choice whether it does. If anyone tells you that it has to include your genitals, that would be a big signal, and you may want to move the opposite direction, because it doesn't ever have to include that. And if you do want to include it, understand why you're making that choice to include that in your healing.
Great. So I'm going to go straight to the final questions that we have. And again, we add in these level questions because of actually what's happening in the Tantra community, in the sexual healing community, and we're hearing all these cases of rape and assault from practitioners toward the clients, and we're seeing a lot of things happening. It's a very hot topic right now because that's what we're talking about, the code of ethic in this realm, and clarifying what it is and what is not. And I feel like while doing these amazing conversation interviews with all of you, the amazing speakers like Cheryl, and then we have Michael the other day, and we have Heather, and then we have we had Grace, Amrita. We had Amrita before. Pretty much, it seems like everybody's coming to comprehension, agreement that there gotta be a level of ethic and a level of preparation for the individual, for the client itself. But while listening to everyone, I was wondering, I said, wait a minute, I've been a part, and I'm gonna read to you guys, because this is not something that just practitioners are responsible for, but this is about also the schools and the people who certified practitioners to do this work. So I'm going to go deeper with this conversation, and I'm going to read to you, and then we're going to have Cheryl expressing, her perspective on this. So these are my deeper insights. These questions are to bring awareness to practitioners and teachers of sexual healing, Daikini training, and certifications. Of the many trainings and certifications I have participated on, and I'm aware of from all the colleagues who have taken all the training from recognized sacred sexuality schools, genital touch, massage, and or deamoring is taught from the beginning of the certification training, from day one. They start with the scary stuff first. Without proper pre-emotional and psychological preparation of the trainee, we find these certifications are offered to anyone without pre-qualifications and proper screening. We have witnessed re-trauma, happening because deep wounds and emotional triggers come up to the surface, and these are not properly addressed and supported with practical tools during training because of the lack of time. We have witnessed new practitioners that are doing healing work with genitals from the beginning of their practice because that is how they were taught. And also that's how they experience their sexual healing experience. While more experienced practitioners, like the one that we're interviewing, are coming to agree that sexual touch may or may not be a part of the session. It is not something that is offered in the first session to begin with. It may take a person over 10 sessions before they even experience conscious touch, which is not even in the genitals. It could be just the leg or the arm or the head. So now the question here is, should these schools that are offering reevaluate their curriculum and create pre-requirement programs addressing emotional and psychological concepts, and provide practical tools that can be offered in person or online before their certification training where genital touch is being explored? Should these schools offer support to their new practitioners after their trainings, create continual educational programs, and provide resources for their students to keep a high level of professionalism and integrity in this field. So schools create an accountability system to sustain the integrity of this practice. And finally, what can we all practitioners do to create the most safest container of healing for our clients?
So, yes, and more of what we talked about earlier, which is, if you have made a commitment to be a practitioner, you have made an ongoing, lifelong commitment to yourself to continue to question, get more training, evolve, have practices, let go of old practices, bring in new practices. I was very inspired by Tanya Diamond. She did a whole Zoom about ways to calm your vagal nerve. And some of that was new information to me. And I immediately took a couple of those practices, and I'm doing them every day because I'm realizing more and more, which has been so much of my healing is like, how do I get my nervous system back to a place where I am available to the clarity, the discernment. You use the word discernment, one of my favorite words. So if we're here to help our clients have discernment and power, because with more power, ideally comes more discernment. Now, sexual power is huge. Experiencing sexual power. Do you have the discernment? Do you have the maturity? Do you have the training? Do you have the self-knowing that I believe that it is imperative to have to be with a human being in their most vulnerable moments? I mean, I'm going to guess that you've had the experience where you are so moved by another human being, their courage, their vulnerability, and yet we can acknowledge it, but we don't have to be swept along, because then now we're not holding that place where they're experiencing their own. So yeah, after a session, I may cry. I may be so touched by another human being's emotions and process, but that's not for the session. That's my way of me letting me know that I have created a container with such impeccability that my client can have their experience, and it is not about me. At any moment where it has to be about me, that I have to get those needs met way outside my session door. So that's the longer answer to that. So I can say yes to the training and yes to all the things, the levels and the follow-up. My model is I did a 4-year program in energy healing, which meant 3 times a year I had to come in person. I was responsible for 200 hours of sessions. I had to write the sessions up. I had a mentor. I had to have sessions with my mentor. We had to review my sessions. So I had self-growth and I had professional growth happening at the same time. It would behoove our precious sexual energy healing practices, our sexual healing practices, to have some sort of model to honor the fact that this is a huge, huge way of interacting with life, interacting with other humans. So I would say that out of reverence for our practice, for our passion, for our healing, it deserves to have a container that now it's uncomfortable right now because people are getting like, I don't know, and I had my moments of like, I don't know, I had days where I was really processing like, what's happening here? And are there places where I can even create a better container for my client? So that has to be part of it. There's no staticness in this. It's literally the energy of life, which is always expanding, Therefore, if we're moving with that, we're expanding and growing and learning and loving.
Yeah, expanding. And I love that you mentioned that yes, we all are getting triggered by this. We all are getting like, man, you gotta step up to your game. It's like we all are being called to really clear our shit. If we have any, because we all have so many. So we are. That's like even myself. Like, you know, yes. Like, how can I create a more cleaner container for my client? You know, like, this is like an opportunity for all practitioners, for all facilitators, for all teachers and mentors and schools to really clean up their mess and to really clean up and to really get more resourceful and also to get more, I would say, more clear with the boundaries and the ethic that they have, and how they actually and who they're offering these trainings. So really, really important. I think I also have somebody sharing some insight. I'm just gonna check. I'm gonna check.
And while you're checking, I would say that there is an attraction in this field to sort of the outliers, kind of the outlaws, the radicals, the rebels, and they're important. That part is important, yet it shouldn't be the prime motivation. The prime motivation to engage in this field. Yes, you and I are not living, I'm going to say, lives that perhaps from the outside people would particularly understand. Kind of from a mainstream perspective, like my mother doesn't understand my work. And that's okay. That's okay, because I had to find in myself, there was such a passion for it, that I had to be in a place where that was, I understood why I was here and what I'm doing.
Yes. Beautiful.
So I want to acknowledge that it does, yes. This field is very attractive. It can attract people. Well, people who have had wounds, people who've been traumatized, the outliers, the rebels, the radicals. But I would say one of the most radical things you can do is create a container where sexual healing can happen and most evolved form.
I'm just trying to get the comments in here because I cannot get it from my computer, so I have to get into my phone. So somebody was mentioning it as always individual. Sergio, hi Sergio, hi Randall. Never static, always the call to alertness and humility. So yes, Randall. Thank you, Randall, for showing up. Randall is gonna be one of another amazing speakers. You're gonna come. You know, it's great to have female and male perspective on this, and some that they do genital work and some that they don't do genital work, and the level of integrity that they actually bring into the conversations this is what we're looking for. So like we were talking with Cheryl, and it's like, to me, it's like I have these memories of levels. So that's how I really go with my practice. Everybody goes into a process, into a journey of purging, and you know, it's just one layer at a time that needs to be released, one layer at a time that must be transcended, and to go to the next level, or to the next level. So really, really important. Yes. Thank you for the clarity that you have been sharing with us today, Cheryl. So how people can find you?
My website is loveandsexmastery.com. Yes. And I do have a Women Healing Women weekend coming up in Sedona, May 18th through 20th. So that's a weekend. Starts on a Friday night and ends on a Sunday night. I have a beautiful home. It's large. You can glamp. So this is for women only.
Glamp.
Reclaiming our sexual radiance, and it's sisterhood, safety, dance, chocolate, hot tub under the Sedona stars. It's a place to completely be immersed in what could it feel like? What could it feel like to feel that connection coming back in all areas of my life. And since the focus is sexual energy, how can I recreate, how can I connect with my sexual energy in a way that is mine?
Awesome.
And that, you can see that on Facebook. It's on Eventbrite, Women Healing Women, and it's also on my website, loveandsexmastery.com.
Thank you so much, Cheryl, for today, for sharing your amazing wisdom and passion, and like how you actually helping women to reclaim that sexual, sensual, erotic, ecstatic, euphoric radiance. I really appreciate your commitment, and thank you so much.
You are so welcome, and thank you for your commitment. Thank you for making this time in your life to reach out to hearing all different perspectives. And I would say that this is not always comfortable, but change is not comfortable, and chaos has a purpose. Chaos is necessary to move to the next level of evolution in our world.
Oh, I'm loving it. I'm loving all this contrast. Like, even when you were talking about the clients having the moment of, like, I love when my clients go into these emotional, like, breakthroughs for themselves. And, like, inside of myself, I'm like, yeah, this is great for them. This is exciting. So, to me, I love this contrast that we live in, so people can actually, So Randall is saying, a pleasure to hear your wisdom, Cheryl. Thank you so much. And yes, and Sergio is repeating your website. Love Sex Mastery, right?
Love and
Sex Mastery.
Mastery.com.
Yeah, loveandsexmastery.com.
Thank you, Sergio and Randall.
Yeah, Sergio wrote it down in the comment. And thank you, Randall, for showing up and for listening and sharing your insight too. I really appreciate you. So, love you all. Love you. This is another amazing day here in Sarasota, Florida, here at Lucia Gabriela TV, creating awareness around sexual healing with amazing speakers like Cheryl today. And tomorrow we're going to have another speaker. His name is Matthias Rose. And eventually we're also going to have Randall come in. We just had to get some dates. And we're going to have more speakers and more speakers come in. Hi, Hannah. Thank you for showing up. Hannah saying, thank you for having this conversation. It is so important, as many of us in this field are seeking direction about how to move forward with getting these practices out of the shadows and into the world. Love you, Hannah. Yes. Yes, yes. Yes, Hannah. It is, yeah, that's what we're doing. Thank you so much. Love you, everyone, and we'll see you tomorrow night, 7:30, and then the following day, I don't know yet. But I see you. I have to go with everybody's schedule, so I'm like just working on their schedule because everybody's in different time zone, different countries, so we just, we want to make these conversations available for the speaker to be able to express themselves. And yeah, so love you, everyone. Thank you so much. See you next time.
Bye.